I think we're online. Welcome to the stream and welcome back. Another week and some more hacking to do. And a little fun to be had, hopefully. Let's see. This week, I'm going to continue on working on this little mud server that I started a few streams ago. A mud, if you don't know, is like a multi-user dungeon. It's an online server where you can connect with a client and play in a game simulation, like a simulation of a fantasy game of some kind, usually, or a space simulation, or some kind of game. And you interact with that game in text. So you send little commands, it sends back an update of like what happened, and everybody else is connected to it in real time. And so it changes as you play. It's kind of like a big chat room with a lot of state. And so we're doing that in Haskell and seeing what we can learn about Haskell's networking and concurrency support and things like that. So let's dive in and see what we can do. We're just getting into command dispatching last week and parsing commands and things like that. We've got like a bare bones input-output kind of system and all that sort of stuff. So let's jump into the project, run the server, and see what it looks like so far, which is not super impressive yet, but it's getting there. So we go into the project. It's called Bakamud. There we go. And I'll run that with my good old Cabal command. Bakamud. Okay, and I've gone ahead and downloaded a mud client. I was using raw telnet before, which isn't super great as an experience because it doesn't like really multiplex input and output and all that sort of stuff. So client is heavily recommended. So I was going to go ahead and connect to that. And we got our welcome message. Hopefully we can all see this. I'm going to see if I can change our appearances a little bit. Yellow, green command, yeah. There we go. Let's display. Let's see. Main window. Let's just up that font size a bit for y'all on the stream. Cool. So like we're just getting the continuing echo, echo, hello, hello, hello. We send a command right in this lower window down here. Right now our server says message received, hello. Right. This client echoes that up here as well, but we can turn that off if we want to. But yeah. So we're gonna get started continue working on this. The weird thing though, I think I noticed with this though, is if we disconnect, we get this like prompt here, but our socket keeps getting a ton of data, like, and I think it stops at some point, but it's really weird. I don't know what to do about that yet, but so we're disconnected. Don't think we're receiving any more data. Yeah, you see it blasts out a bunch of empty stuff. I wonder what's in that. So that's where we are right now, and we're just going to keep going along and see what we can do. Let's get the code. Projects in Bakamud. That's a base command handling. Add a new module, something to the server. Add a mega parsec for some parsing. A little bit of updates to command dispatching and like the network layer. I think that's the other thing we have right now we got to work on is when we connect, I think we can send like hello up to, we made the command input buffer pretty short, but it's not consuming from it. Or maybe it is. Okay. Okay, well, I thought maybe that was working, but it looks like it is. Okay, great. Wild. That's just a client thing, I wonder. If they're like actually sending bytes that we just can't display. Okay, so continuing on with this. So we have a message of the day command, a login command. I think, I don't know why, but actually, let me bring up the kill client again. It's called killed client is this one. K-I-L-D client. Oh, yeah, I haven't. Restarted the server. Right, so we tried to implement /OTD. But this client, it looks like it interprets that as like some sort of scripting thing. And I don't know how to turn that off. So I don't know if we want to make ours prefixed with slashes, or if we should just do a different thing so it doesn't interfere with the client like this. Turn that echo off. Automation. Like you can script this whole thing, which is kind of cool, and a lot of them do that. Yeah, it might be something kind of built in. Okay, so we might want to just change that quickly. And let's take those slashes off. Cool. Okay, what would you like? Something like that. sec. Other thing you can do with this stuff too, I don't know if we can support, but it might be nice, is go off the line here, edit this. There's auto login. So these different servers that people have made over the years, like Deku, LP and stuff, they also implement like a login command as well, of course, and they have different syntax for it, and these clients support them. That'd be cool to do that. But yeah, anyway. Okay, enough messing around. Let's get hacking. So let's get it. Let's hook up the. Looks like we're just printing the message out on the server. Let's hook up our command parser. It might be in the network layer. The server under talk function. Yeah, there we are. It's just a debug message. Okay, so let's get rid of the trace end there. So we're supposed to parse this when the message is not null. Command parser error, parse error, or we write to the TQ. Okay, right. Command dispatcher. Looks for the command queue, gets the commands, tries to print the commands. We probably... We do fork a thread for that. Why is it not getting it? We're not looping in the command dispatch here. There we go. Interesting. Got the connection ID, unprocessed login. There we go. That's where what the commands look like when they come in. Okay, so then login foo bar. We get in our log username, password, but our log, because of our customer show instance, doesn't show the passwords in there, which is nice. We can do MOTD, display the MOTD, otherwise it should be unprocessed. Cool. All right. So let's implement message of the day. Sorry, it's something easy. Okay, so we actually have to dispatch these commands to do something somewhere instead of just printing them. Let me just add that. Server. Move some debugging. The command dispatch loop. Okay. All right, so now let's see. Dispatch command. Super clever. Very good at naming things, folks. By the way, if this is your first time streaming, or tuning into this stream and watching, it's my first time streaming, totally. Then I'm totally cool with, you know, taking diversions, taking questions, anything like that. So if you are a Haskell newbie or you've never seen Haskell before at all and you're like, what the heck? Feel free. I'm totally happy to answer questions. Ask anything you want. There's nothing I won't answer within reason, as long as it's about Haskell, I guess. Okay. So we dispatch the command. What is dispatch command going to do? Let's get our builder going, GHCID here. Oh. So that's basically going to be roughly the type of it. But where are we going to put that function? I think we should put it in our server code. Or, yeah, server. I kind of want to keep the server module just about the simulation itself. Although, the simulation, it's... No, this is fine, yes. Command dispatcher, we could have it, like, read the commands off. Some of these commands are going to be, like, for the server itself, like login, message of the day, and these ones that we've defined. The unprocessed ones are going to be like, okay, we're going to punt that off to the mud code for further processing and parsing and handling, and let the simulation update, and we'll just give the simulation code to do output to the appropriate place, but we're going to take care of the routing and stuff. So we could still have like a separate queue for the simulation commands. Okay, so dispatch command. Let's do that here. Connection ID and a command. A Bakamud server. Probably just IO. See if I can get away with this. Unit. Okay, don't have command in scope. Let's bring it in there. Okay, there we go. Got a hole now. Sorry, lower. Okay, so now we've got a hole. We just have a Bakamud server now. Okay, so now we can pattern match on our command and do various things. just bring that over to the left a little bit. And alright, we've got MOTD is one we want to handle first. So let's go ahead and do that. It's message of the day. The rest we'll just print the command. We'll just print the pair connection ID. But if we get message of the day, let's respond by writing something back to the client, the message of the day. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to need some kind of client function to communicate that to the client. So it's sort of like broadcast, but instead it's going to be privately to the connection that asked for it. So we're going to say, I'm going to call that, what should we call that? Like a, say, a tell, a put client? Put. Alright, this one's going to need a connection ID because we're going to have to specifically look that up in our connection map in order to know which client output to send it to. Some text. It's going to be a Bakamud server action. Probably a unit. We'll leave that undefined for a moment. But if we do that, we can say try to put connection ID, and we'll just put the string. This is the message of the day. Okay, so we don't have that in scope. Put it there. We might have a circular import. Nope, we're all good. Hopefully. Okay, if we are all good, GHCID, and I turn this to score. We're not all good. Circular import. Let's see. This is Bakamud.server. We import Bakamud.server into client. Bakamud.server is now importing client, so yeah, there we go. There is our circular import. Okay, so how do we break up circular imports? What do we need from server in here? The Bakamud server type. So we have to break that out and do a separate module that they can both import from without importing each other. So server, let's put it in monad. Not very descriptive. I don't like that as a module name, but it's going to have to work. So call it module Bakamud server monad. There. I'm just going to boop. Take that. I'll take that. And put it in here. And then I'm going to need this one. And this one. I might even be able to kill that. And then we just need to import Bakamud.server on out here and here. And then our Cabal file. Oh, there's a problem now. We still have a press cycle. Oh, that's easy. You have to. I don't need that now. Let's do this. There we go. Okay, so we just need to fill in put. Okay, so our server state has our connection map, which we need to get. Connections. Ask for that. Then we're going to have to get that connection. We have that in a TVAR. So we have to do this. We have to get the connection in our TVAR, our SDM transaction. So we have control of current SDM in here already. So the connection we're looking for is going to be lift.io atomically. This is going to be a maybe because we're looking into a map, right? So, it's data. We have a map in here. Control data map. Nope. Let's import that. Map.strict. As map. And we can just look up connection ID, I believe. The hole there. Oh, sorry, read TVAR. Strong. TVAR. All right. Just read. so we get this in this transaction, right? We get the map out, and then we look it up. This is going to be connections tvar. Or connections var. Connections. tvar. Connections tvar. So everything outside this transaction block, outside of atomically, can now modify that map. So you have to be a little bit careful with your transaction boundaries and like understanding the trade-offs and stuff like that. So there's the possibility, all I'm saying is there's a possibility here now that when we look up this connection and then we go to write to its output channel that we might have a reference to it in this map at this line on line 21, but the action that actually goes to write and use that connections data and that connections tvar, that stuff might not even be in there anymore. So let's instead do a whole transaction in here. We'll get the connection. We'll just lift IO this whole thing. Get the connections by reading the tvar. We can't do any IO in here, but I think we're just going to be writing to the output queue, which is also a STM variable, so it's managed by this transaction, and so it should be safe to do. So case map lookup. I think it's the key and connections of nothing. So we know as long as we're in this block, nothing else is modifying this map. So if the connection isn't here, it's not going to like disappear on us or anything like that. So if it isn't here, it isn't here. So we could do something there. If we just have it, we know if we update this connections output queue, it's going to be updated atomically in this transaction block on this variable. If we look up that, all right, we're going to be writing that it's pushing onto its TBQ, some output text, the message. So I'll pull that out like this. It's going to need a language extension called record variants. And do I have this TDQ stuff I need? For qualified. Okay, and we will if it's queued up push, whatever. STM.pdq is what I meant. Read, read peak, try peak, right. course, we're going to need the Q as the first argument. It's going to be the output. Okay, server. Oh, I think I might have accidentally deleted that line. Control.monad.class. Oh, I need asks from control.monad.reader. Okay. And I need state. And overloaded strange. Okay, that's compiling. Simulation.s, what did I do there? That's right, I moved the definition of Bakamud server to monad. And ooh, I'm bundling a bunch of changes in here at once. Sorry, this is gonna be a big fat commit. Key and network server. We don't need byte stream. All right. Okay, everything compiled now. We are green. Let's run the server. Reconnect to it. Oh, what happened? Oh, main. Right. App main executable. Let's import. Wrong import. And again, okay, builds cleanly. All right. Now, let's reconnect. Okay, let's try our message of the day command. This is the message of the day. Sweet. Okay, we got an error here, parse error. Unexpected CRLF new line. That's just when I press enter and nothing. That one works fine. Okay, so if I press enter and nothing, the client still sends me some stuff, and then I'll print out this like parse error from the logs. Okay. Okay, so I think it's probably just sending a control end of line character with nothing in it. Which we could probably just ignore, maybe. All right. Disconnect that for now. Let's create a little committee commit. See what we got so far. Quite a bit. Yeah. The main focus of this change was to add the command dispatch function. Or was it dispatch command? Dispatch command. Added dispatch command. Handle service commands and stuff. Changed. Move Bakamud server monad. It's on module. To break circular import. Pretty much it. All right, what else do we need to do now? Log in, right? It's the parser. Cool. Let's see. Put logged in. Guess we gotta put new lines on it. Since we're not technically using these yet. Compile without warnings. Cool. All right, so that's our login handler. Now, what do we want to do? We want to, when we log in a user, obviously we're going to have to check like a database to do authentication, right? And all that stuff. Just like that. We gotta do something with it. So I don't know if I want to get too bogged down in authentication handling mechanisms. But the general gist of it is once we have a successful login, a successful authentication, that user of that client right, can now issue more commands that can interact with the server. And so they should be able to... Well, I guess we also need a register thing too as well. So logged in needs to authenticate and then like change the privilege status of the user, of the connection, basically. The auth state. Right, assuming the authentication function works, right, and it actually authenticates the user. So we could probably put like a framework in place for that to be able to, or at least like an attachment point or like a place where we can expand on that later, and just have it change the auth state of the connection while we're in development. Might even call it like handle login. User pass. And connection ID. I'm just going to put it here for now. Why not? Look at our good old monad parameter there. Yeah. Let's see. We call it handle login. We will get a auth result, authentication result from the challenge function, say. In fact, let's not even bind it. Let's just case challenge user pass of challenge success. Challenge fail. Something like that, I think looks pretty reasonable. And so, what we're going to do is we'll handle these cases, but we'll implement challenge as simply always returning challenge success, no matter what you give it. Well, it might not be necessarily a pure function because we're going to go to that. So this might have to restructure the code a little bit. Probably be like this. And be No, that's not going to return. That's going to return a child result. The child result, let's just define that here. Show instance. Yeah, this is the scope. Did I mistype something? Oh, I did. Back down there. Mistyped a bunch of things. There we go. Right like this. All right. So we have a challenge fail. Let's just put invalid login. And on success, we're going to do a couple of things. All right, we're going to change the connection auth state. So we're going to need our STM transaction there. And so we're going to need from the state, we're going to need the connection map. Prepare. Server state connections, sorry, server state connections. We get the connections map by reading that T-bar. All right, we get our connection. Maybe. By looking up in the map, the connection ID. And if we find nothing, we'll do something. Yeah, but if we just find it, we are going to modify that connection. So maybe what we want to do actually is not a map.lookup, but a map.modify or alter. No, update. Yeah. Oh, maybe just. Yeah, adjust. We update a value at a specific key with the function, and then if the key is not there, i.e. the connection isn't to the map, then the original map is just turned. And then we need to modify the TVAR as well, so we're going to modify the connection map. So I'm going to go back here. I think that's all. Oh, no, that's all we have to do in the block, the transaction. Yeah. So we can go map.modify. No, TVAR. And takes the TVAR first as an argument. Okay, now in this hole here, we just have to provide our map. So map.alter connections at key, I think. Oh, sorry, adjust. Oh, it's going to take the function first. Key, connection ID, connections. We're just gonna update. We're gonna. What am I gonna call that? Update auth state. Auth success. Gotta import map. Okay, we need to define that function. I'm going to put it in the where clause. Update auth success connection. There. And that's connection where the connection state is going to be equal to something, an auth state, and that comes from auth, which is going to be authenticated. Let's import that from there, and then here. Cool, we can pop up. There's probably some other things we could do in here, like check, are they already authenticated? Then we don't have to do anything. But after we do that, we can put okay. So let's run it. Welcome to Bakamud. Hello. We're going to log in as foo bar. We get the success message. And everybody's happy. Okay, so this is going to provide the challenge functions where we're going to do all of the actual handling of that and looking things up in our user database or whatever. And that'll be our extension point. So when we're ready to implement that, we just implement challenge for realsies. Which actually, challenge might even do all of those checks for us. I was mentioning a minute ago, like maybe looking up, you know, are they already authenticated before we actually adjust them and stuff like that. We could probably do that in the challenge result and just assume that they are not logged in here. They're not authenticated before we update their auth status. Cool. So that's going to do that all. That's kind of nice there too, so the TVAR and stuff and the transaction, we know that like anything else is trying to modify this connection isn't going to be able to do it, right, until this transaction is done. Nothing's going to change up underneath them, that sort of stuff. So things you have to worry about with multi-threading a lot. Pretty cool. Okay, so we've got that. That obviously means we need to have, or implies the existence of, a registration process. Right, you should be able to create an account on our server so that you can authenticate and get your account. So let's create a commit for that and maybe think about that a little bit. Add login handler. Challenge. Do always success auth challenge. Okay, so registration then. We can also handle the parse error one too. That's gonna be interesting, but let's do the registration one. Register. We'll need a username and password for that. At the bare minimum for the server. All right. Create the parser for it. Register command P, parser command. We're gonna match the string, register, take a space. I think for some reason, do I have to? Yeah, space car. And then we got a username. Similar to the login. It's print, I believe. Yeah. Your register username, password. Cool. So we have that. Rebuild, rerun. We try to register an account. Let's do it. processed registered food bar. Okay, we have to fix that. Oh, right. It's not hooked up to the main parser yet. That's right. We have the main the command p parser here. So we'll try log command. We'll try undo register command v. And we'll just pop these over here like that. Okay. And rerun the server, rebuild everything. There we go, yeah. Sweet. Okay. Create a little commit. Register command. Now we'll add the register command handler. Okay, let's write that. Username, a password, Bakamud, server. And we'll just unit that. Over a little bit. Yes, kill down server, GHCID, get that running. How do I name things? Handle login, handle register. Super, okay, then we got our hold. Okay. So now we need to implement this thing. All right, so unlike authentication, we're going to create users. Now we need, this is where we start to need like a database of some kind. In order to persist the registrations and all that sort of stuff. And all the accounts. For now, we could implement this as a map and just check with the login handler. You know, we could update our challenge command to like look in the map, right? And then in a next iteration, we could update the handle register to implement the persistence instead of using a map, because the map will go away as soon as you kill the server, right? I'll do that. So yeah, why don't we try that? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the server state. Here. And put it in here somewhere. Server state accounts. And we'll make that tvar around a map. of username. Now, obviously we don't want to store the passwords as they are, because that would be silly. You don't want to do that, whether in memory or at rest on a disk. But we're going to do this with the knowledge that we're going to change it later. It's just to hook things up, get the basic kind of framework going, and then we can get down to the nitty-gritty details as we go along and flesh it out. Okay, so there's a few things our register has to do, right? It has to see if that username already exists in the database, right? So like, because we're using a map, the usernames all have to be unique. And then we just have to check, does the password match what we have on file? All right, obviously, again, if you're actually implementing authentication type stuff, there are rules. You should understand those and implement those properly. We're just hacking here on a little hobby project, and we're going to get to that part probably, but for now, we're just going to do it the dumb way. Okay, so let's get our connections map. Or sorry, not our connections map, our accounts map. Okay, and then we're gonna do this. Yeah, in a transaction. Lift IO atomically. What are we gonna do here? Let's do. Okay, because we're gonna do a lookup first to see if it already exists or not. No, we're gonna read the TVAR. Accounts TVAR. User count. User pass. Yeah. Let's just tell it what like it is. Not the lookup. User and accounts. Let's just case match on that. Nothing, then we can successfully register. Otherwise, we can't. So let's do the error case first. If it exists already, we'll put... I don't know if we can put here. I don't think we can put here because we're in anatomically block here. We can only do SDN transaction stuff. That's a very basic pure things, but that's gonna IO stuff, so that's a no-no. So how do we want to do that? I guess we can collect a result value. Registration success or registration fail. Or I could say we succeeded and failed. And in the nothing case, we want to insert into here. Into this map. We want to modify the T-var right back. So let's write T-var. Something. Yeah. T-bar. And the new map. Add account. 2 accounts. User pass. Return registration succeeded. Okay, so we need that function. Add account. Take a username, password, map of username, password, and return a map of username. Password, I think. Import that first. Just the type. Registration results. There is a return type. Yeah. And yeah. Oh, we just need unit. Oh, yeah, because I want to capture that. And write a different message. Now we can put function ID. Try a different username. Or we could just say username taken, try a new one. And if it succeeded, we could put move this outside of the STM block. Don't bind it, just return it. It needs to be here. Yeah, okay. And then just some minor changes here. In server. Server client. Here in command, okay. Yeah, that needs an ord. And new field. Beautiful. Okay. And let's run that, try it out. Let's reconnect. There we go. We can register through the bar. Registration succeeded. Awesome. It's always going to log us in, but now we could change that so that it checks. All right. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I think we can wrap up for the evening. So let's go and create a little commit. To register command handler. So let's go to the login handler and look up in that database, the challenge, sorry, the challenge function. All right, so in the challenge, we're going to look up that database and we're going to use the username, check that the passwords are the same, and then log them in. Of course, again, said before, all the caveats mentioned before. So, if when you're actually writing authentication stuff, don't do it this way. This is like just the dumb framework way. We're just trying to get things working. And then we're going to zoom in on the details and fix those so that we'll do it properly. Okay. So, we first need that map. So we need the T-var first, the bounce T-var. Call it a king. Counts, yeah. Okay, and then we get our challenge result, so we can do the same. I think we can lift IO this atomically in a transaction. We can then look up in that map by getting it first. And if it's not in there, that's a challenge fail. Otherwise, we have a potential password. Builder going there. Right here, we're just going to check if they're the same. Success. Else. Challenge fail. Okay, very, very simple, kind of dumb, but let's build it. Check it out. Welcome to Bakamud. Hello. We're going to register an account. Well, actually, let's try logging in first as foo with bar. Log in. We get invalid login. Cool. Let's register. Foo bar. Registration succeeded. Now let's log in this food bar. Okay. That should have worked. Well, maybe we don't write anything. Success. We should. Right, we should see success. Did I miss it? Registration succeeded. That's not working. Let's disconnect. Let's restart the server, rebuild. Okay, it's already rebuilt. Okay, that should have worked. Blue bar. That gets invalid login. We get nothing. Okay, let's figure out what's happening there. put a little debug trace in here. Import debug trace. That's debug. Challenge. Now we'll put a little here. Okay, we'll rebuild the server. Reconnect. Log in with foobar? No, you can't. We got the challenge, username foo, whatever. We got the invalid login. Okay. We register. Registration succeeded. For some reason, whenever I send that command, I get a handle parse error. Weird. Okay. We can log in foobar. So we get into the challenge function. We don't get down into here. Service data accounts. Tvar is a map. Username. Key. Read that Tvar. It's accounts Tvar. Service data accounts. Doesn't exist, which would mean maybe our map isn't getting updated by the registration, or fail password equality. Doesn't exist, right? Okay, foobar. Now registration should succeed. But if we log in with foobar, just get challenge username foo something, and nothing else. In here. Register foobar. It's like, for some reason the login doesn't work. Login command doesn't work at all after you use it. Like, it's weird, right? Disconnect, reconnect. Try the login command. Baz. We don't get invalid anymore. What on earth did I do? There is something up here. Go back to the old function where we just return pure challenge success. We get success. Okay. And if we well, we always succeed. In this case, so that is fine. And oh, maybe could debug.trace be screwing up my STM transactions? Possibly. That could be it. Okay, so we'll get rid of those. And if I build and reconnect, or sorry, I have to rebuild first. Just like that. Invalid login. Invalid login, okay, so if I register, challenge, nothing. And now the login doesn't work at all anymore. Weird. I disconnect and reconnect. Nothing. And if I just try to go from a new connection, Baz, nothing. That's weird. That is so odd. I don't know what's happening there. If I run the server, a fresh one, reconnect, Login foobar. Login baz. Login barbaz. Always invalid login. Foobar. If I register something, I log in baz, not the account I registered, I get nothing. Unless it just stops working. That's odd. But we are out of time. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna try a couple more things. And if we go over a little overtime, that's okay. Let's comment this back out. Just pure challenge result, challenge success. Or ignore username, take password. If password is equal to bar, then pure challenge result, challenge success. Else pure challenge fail. Okay, now this has no STM transaction involved here. So hopefully, when I restart this program, rebuild this and restart it, we're always going to get, the challenge is always going to succeed as long as we have the password bar, regardless of the state of the account's map. So if I log in foo baz, that'll be invalid login. But if I log in foo bar, that'll be success. No. Still saying invalid login. Okay. Could be something silly. I have equality instances on passwords, so that should be fine. Trace on here. Show challenge results. Challenge fail. Okay. Maybe we're getting weird input. We aren't parsing things the way I expect. We can't show the passwords. But I think I might temporarily change that just so I can debug this. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's try it again. Ah, there it is. At least there, it's getting a space bar. And our password doesn't have a space bar. So let's check. Did I accidentally mess up the parser for the login command? Oh. Okay, that's better. Okay, cool. That's better. Then I did mess that up. Oopsie daisy. So let's return this. Okay, so try to log in foobar this time. Invalid login. We register foobar. Registration succeeded. If we log in with foobar, wrong with foobaz. Obviously, we should get invalid. If we log in with foobar, that should succeed. Ah, for some reason, it is still not right. Bet it's something else. Maybe with registration. Maybe we made the same mistake. Yeah, probably. Looks like. Silly me. Invalid, right? Okay, that succeeded. Let's log in. Okay, we've got the password bar, but we're still not getting success. Ah, that would do it. Kills the thread when you register. Okay. That will be it. Okay, you know it's getting to the end of the stream. When? Alright. So editing account. Counts. Insert, I believe, username, password accounts. I believe it's that. Could potentially be that. Okay. Login, foobar, invalid. Registration succeeded. There we go. Now we logged in. Sweet. No Poobaz. We try to register Poobaz, though we should get using them already in use. Okay, cool. So then we can register Baz. We technically can still log in as Baz, even though session-wise shouldn't be able to, but we can fix that. So, but we got this basic kind of flow going, so that's good. Progress. All right, that's going to be enough for tonight. So let's disconnect. We'll close down our client. We'll create a little commit for this. Let's remove all the debug tracing stuff, though. And put our print instance or show instance back on password. Let's not commit that. Okay. Great. All right. Modify login handler. Added. What do we add? Implementation for adding accounts. Actually add accounts. And changed. Fixed command parsers. Login and register. Login handler. Looks up accounts now. It sets auth state. So still to do. We're still going to have to do like better handling of the auth state and like the session on the connection, so that if we try to log in as a different user, and like we know what user we're logged in as, not just the auth state, that would be good. But we'll continue on with this next week. So if this was your first time tuning in, thanks for watching and hanging out with me. I'm Agent Ultra, and I do these streams once a week on Tuesday evenings at about 10 after 8 in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. So if you want to give me a follow here on Twitch, you'll get notified if you have your notifications set up in your profile there when I go online, or you can write that down in your book or whatever. However you want to do it, it's all good. And if I back up the VODs for this stream on YouTube, so if you follow my YouTube channel, give me a like and a subscribe there, leave a comment and all that stuff, feed the algorithm, and you'll get notified when I post a new video if you have your preferences set up for that, and you subscribe to me there. What else? Go to the link above my head. It's declarative.tv. It's a cool website where there are other streamers who are doing things in declarative programming languages like Haskell, but also Elixir, Erlang, maybe others. And they would also enjoy having new followers and stuff, so go check them out. There is also a link to a Discord server on declarative.tv where there is a channel for this stream. So if you didn't get a chance to ask a question, or you think of it in the shower or something for whatever reason, and you want to ask it, you can ask it there and hang out with us there. That'd be great. It's a pretty quiet server, but it's a pretty chill one too. And what else? I think that's it. Follow me on the socials for updates on this stream and other things that I'm doing. I'm on Mastodon and the Fediverse at types.pl, Agent Ultra. My website, agentultra.com, also has links to everything as well, including my GitHub and such. All the code that you've seen tonight for this project is hosted, for now at least, on GitHub. I'm Agent Ultra there as well, and this has been Bakamud, an attempt at developing a mud server in Haskell to experiment with concurrent programming, networking, and stuff like that in Haskell, and see what it can do. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks again for watching. May all your monads be free, your types always check, and happy hacking out there. Stay safe.